What does it do, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host, and did you see it? Did you see that barn burner in Indianapolis? Looks like the Colts play in a barn, but did you see it? Did you see McGenius and the Rams try and snatch defeat from the jaws of victory? Did you see it? Well, there's a lot to unpack from the Rams' 23-20 overtime epic victory / meltdown thrilling win on Sunday. And we're going to get into it and go deep in game analysis because there were some mighty significant turning points that caused great momentum shifts, and at one point in particular, it almost seemed like the Rams were trying to give the game away. But to paraphrase the Bard, we did not come here today to bury McGenius, but to praise him. And I say praise because I hope you have been watching the past episodes where I have been crying out for McGenius to employ a type of restraint on the passing game, to employ a physical power run game, to employ balance. I hope you've been watching these previous episodes now. And so I had a feeling watching the first half of the Rams-Indy game, I had a feeling somehow my cries had been heard. Somehow my message in a bottle had reached Coach McWonder, and he was heeding my cry. And it was a beautiful thing to behold, my folks. I sat there watching such balance, pass and run and pass. I saw the blueprint for a winning, successful season. But there's always a but. There's always a fly in the soup. Mr. McWonder, brilliant offensive mind though he may be, suffers from a condition. Now, we've learned about it and reported on it here. It's a condition, a chronic one. And the medical term for it, I understand, is pass happiness. Okay, now, you have to dig into the medical book to find this, but I found it. Pass happiness, and Mr. McWonder suffers from it. You see? And so, despite his best intentions at various points in time, he cannot control his impulses to chuck the ball all around the yard. And by doing that, you usher an invitation out. An invitation to the unspeakable one. And when you invite him, he will come. And so that is why we have asked for restraints to be placed upon the malevolent spirit known as the poltergeist. And the best way to restrain has been the 25-20 principle. I'll take credit for it. But I've seen it employed, executed, and successful many times. Father Shanahan employs it regularly against McGenius and beats him every damn time. Okay? Against them damn Niners, Father Shanahan, 25 passes, 25 runs. Beat him again. McGenius, 55 passes, 18 runs. Lost again. You see a pattern there anywhere? You don't have to be a detective, to see that. But the 25-20 principle, which I'm actually considering amending up for Mr. McWonder, because you gotta get, it might be too strenuous for him right out the gate. He needs something to sort of build his immunity. He has to build up his resistance. So I'm thinking of actually going to the 25-30 principle. 25-30. 25 runs minimum, 30 passes maximum. This is going to be too hard for him. I know it is. But what I saw against Indianapolis in the first half, it was poetic. It was symphonic. It was a thing of beauty. That's what I've been calling for, Coach. And it was working to perfection. And so the Rams build up a 23-0 lead. You're not supposed to have to end up in overtime. And I can point out to exactly the place in the game where Mr. McWonder had a conniption. His chronic condition of past happiest, he couldn't help it. He went a little bit past happy, and just like that, he invited in the poltergeist, and just like that, the momentum shifted, and all of a sudden, it was a whole new ball game in the second half. And we'll go over it in game analysis, the specific spots along the way to point this out. But this is business. The NFL. Dubs and L's. L's and dubs. That's it. Did you win or did you lose? And the Rams held on and are now 2-2, and they're right in the mix. See? They're right in the mix. But Mr. McWonder, you're going to have to stay in treatment for past happiest. There's no other way. There's certain conditions. You can't just stop your treatment, sir. You have to stay in it lifetime. You have to manage it over the duration of your life. Past happiest. Otherwise, it'll strike and bite and get you. In the end, the Rams come out of Indy victorious and come home for the start of 3 consecutive home games. Game 1, Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly, huh? I think this should be an interesting game. Now, I'm not prepared at this point to pick my Rams to win, but I do expect that this game is going to be interesting and that it is not going to be a cakewalk. The Rams have shown they are not going to roll over and play dead. And even when they lay a stinking egg like they did in Cincinnati, the next game they come out against Indy and they're flying around and they're hitting and they look sharp. And, I got to say this, McGenius and AD99 the Beast and Matty from the D, Doc, they look invested. They look into it. And a lot of people, including from this corner here, said this was the Rams had thrown this year away. That this was just a garbage junk year. That maybe they were even thinking about the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. Fight on. But no, this team is competitive. And, with control of that condition past happiest, they could be easily 3-1 or even undefeated. But they are what the record says they are, right? So there you have it. Now, after the Philadelphia Eagles, we'll get the Arizona Cardinals. I think you can handle them, but you gotta play disciplined ball. This team. They are a team with young players. They have the NASA scientist at QB, first year coach who is trying to put a mark on the team and have them play a certain way. And so, as you saw against them damn Cowboys, the Cardinals can bite you. So you got to play a disciplined game. You can't be past happy, Mr. McWonder. Balance. And I want to give him credit because I don't recall when I've seen such balance from Coach McWonder in a game in recent memory as I saw in the first half of the Indianapolis Rams game. So bravo, Mr. McWonder. I cannot give you an A for the game plan because you had a couple of conniptions and you kind of tried to revert, backslide. And that cost you momentum and it damn near cost you the game. So I'm going to give you a B. I'm going to give you a B on the game plan. But that first half, it was a thing of beauty. That was A++ sterling. Second half, that was something different altogether. And you've got to give the Indianapolis Colts and their first year head coach, Shane Steichen, you got to give them some credit. Okay? And let me say this. Shane Steichen employed the 25-20 principle. See? And he damn near wasn't doing it. And I was so impressed with Shane Steichen. And I'll get a little more into it in game analysis. But, he spent the past couple years as OC for the Eagles. And the year prior to that, OC with the Chargers. But Shane Steichen understands the principles of balance and running the ball. Now he's got a running quarterback, and that guy Richardson, Anthony Richardson, he's a monster at quarterback. Okay, so they had 10 design runs that were for the quarterback. But that aside, the balance there, they hit the markers for the 25-20 principle, and they damn near pulled it off. In fact, at the very end of the game in the fourth quarter, when McGenius had given them the ball back with a 3-and-out on all those passes incomplete, Shane Steichen went McWonder and went 3 passes incomplete and gave the ball right back. And I was like, if he just would have kept running, he might have won that game, got them in field goal range and won that game. But instead, he went pass, incomplete, no time elapsed, got a punt. I was like, oh, he took a page out the McWonder book and got the same outcome. 13-second possession with a minute left in the game, and you're tied, and you have a 13-second 3-and-out. Pass. So, but despite that, Shane Steichen, down 23-0, the man came out running the ball. 23-zip, came out running the ball effectively, not for show. He understood he had a half and then a quarter left. 23-8, running the ball. It's like body blows to the defense, see? And then when you do throw over the top now, you softened them up under that underbelly. Now you hit them with some strikes over the top, and that's how they got right back in the game and tied it up. And they had a chance to win it. And it would have been a different Scotty Says episode if they would have lost that game. I'll tell you that right now. But, tip of the cap to Shane Steichen over there at Indy, first year head coach. But I have waxed poetic long enough. Let's go ahead and get to the game analysis from Rams at Indy. So now going into the game, the Rams had quite a few names on the injury report. However, all of them suited up and played. Of course, Soup still out now. We are hearing that Soup may possibly be back against them Eagles. I don't know. I might say give him another week, bring him back against the Cardinals. But pick your bird. Soup is coming back soon. They say he will practice this week. Otherwise, the only injury of note, Alaric Jackson out. And so that did cause that O-line shuffle. And otherwise, you had your same starting 4 offensive linemen with the exception of Jackson. And so Dotson is the replacement who became the starting right guard. And everything else, no go boom shifts over the left tackle, and then everything else stayed the same. Avila, Coleman, then you had Dotson, and of course Havenstein. All right, so McGenius comes out, of course, to open the game. He is in 11 personnel. You know this. And his 3 wideouts, Puka and Tutu. Puka and Tutu. And the imaginary, a.k.a. 2 Chainz Jefferson, is your 3rd wideout. Higbee is your tight end. And, of course, Matty from the D is under center. Kyron Williams is your tailback. And away we go. Now, right away, of course, McGenius comes out throwing, but Puka makes this amazing one-hand stabbing grab right out the gate. I'm like, look at this guy. Now, I want to stop right here and just say, Puka, what a revelation. What an epiphany this guy has been as a wideout for the Rams this season. And so I'm extremely excited to see what a wideout trio of Soup, Puka, and Tutu. Soup, Puka, and Tutu. That sounds like the ingredients you need for a wonderful broth, right? A stew, a soup, Puka, and Tutu, and blend that. You got something there, I think. And I also want to say, right here and now, that Matthew Stafford has been playing phenomenal. And he played heroic ball today. And I have extremely few complaints about the play of Matty from the D to this point, although that pick that came, of course, later on was very ugly. But he's been pretty clean, pretty much turnover free. And so you've got to give credit now to Stafford and the O-line and yes, the defense, Raheem Morris and AD99, the beast. And so the team is playing like a team with great energy, and they seem focused. And so other than that stanker in Cincinnati, I like what I've seen this year. Now, we'll talk more about Puka later, and you know this, but the man, suffice it to say, has the most receptions, 39, and the most yards, 501, in his first 4 games of any receiver in NFL history. Jerry Rice, Moss, you name it. Pick your favorite wideout from history. This kid, Puka Nacua, has more. And he doesn't look like he's about to slow down too much. So it's an impressive thing to see. And it's just another example of how talent can slide in a draft. He was a 5th rounder. Now all these teams are like, wow, we could have picked him. I mean, Kurt Warner, groceries, went undrafted. But after a run is stuffed for a couple yards and an incomplete pass, Matty, looking to throw on 3rd down, can't find anybody open, takes off. He's hit out of bounds late. That gives the Rams a fresh set of downs on the penalty, and a couple of plays after that, Kyron Williams, K-Will, is carrying it into the end zone. 7-0 Rams, 7-0 Rams. They look sharp. So, 9 plays, 6 passes, 3 runs, 75 yards, touchdown Rams, 7-0 LA, and the Rams defense, well-regarded defense, takes over. And true to form, force a punt, a holding call on the punt. The Rams are backed up at their own 6-yard line. And thankfully, McGenius is running. He runs the ball. K-Will for 10. 1st down. He runs again. What? Back-to-back runs? I love it. K-Will again for 5. Getting nice chunk yards on the ground. Now, McGenius is not going to be happy unless he is chucking it around some, though. So, now, Matty from the D goes over the top. Puka for 26 plus 15 more yards for unnecessary roughness on the hit on Puka, and the Rams are rolling. So now the Rams end up facing a 4th and 3 at the Indy 32-yard line, and McGenius correctly decides to go for it. And look at Matty from the D with a dart, a dime to the imaginary 2 chains. First down Rams at the 11-yard line. Now, after a pass to Higbee, McGenius goes back to the ground. K-Will for 8 more. And he runs again. Yes, McGenius. He runs again. K-Will. Touchdown Rams. Touchdown Rams. 14-0. And I'm like, yes. It's delicious. This is what I'm talking about, McGenius. I'm like, yes, he must have watched my channel. Someone must have hipped him to Scotty Says. He must have learned about the 25-20 principle and balance, and he's employing it to perfection. And the Rams have run off to a 14-0 lead on the road against the Colts, and the Colts are well regarded for their defensive front. And the Rams have run 19 plays, 10 passes, 9 runs. And so now the Colts have the ball back, and Jordan Fuller strips Anthony Richardson, Colts quarterback, strips the ball from him. Rams recover the fumble. They are back in business, and McGenius, almost inexplicably, is running the ball. Now it's Ronnie Rivers at tailback, and he's consecutive handoffs to Ronnie Rivers. And I'm thinking, yes, McGenius, I'm beside myself. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I started thinking wild, strange thoughts like, I wonder, maybe if Stan K, maybe he sent someone right before the game while they were in the tunnel to throw a potato bag over McGenius' head and whisk him away, and they've got a double walking on the sideline. Because who else would call for so much balance between pass and run? Who else would do that? It wouldn't be McGenius. And so now Ronnie Rivers is running the ball for nice chunk yardage. And Matty from the D looking sharp. Play action is working. They're biting on the play fake. He hits Higbee for a nice gainer over the top. And then back to the ground. And I'm like, yes, McGenius. McGenius, run, McGenius, run. And my folks, I'm watching this game, and I'm like, the Rams are going to win this game because McGenius has come to his senses. He's put his past happiness in check, and he must be in treatment for it. And the poltergeist is restrained, and the running game is clicking, and the Rams are marching up and down the field, and the defense looks stout and strong and up for the challenge. But as you know, this is not how the story would end up being written. Okay, LA is driving the ball, but a holding call. A holding call puts a flag in their progress, and they're facing a 1st and 20. And very curiously here, this is one of the few times, my folks, when I would say McGenius became too conservative, ultra conservative. I was like, whoa, he wimped out here. I'm not sure why. But they're marching, they're driving. The holding call backs him up. It is 1st and 20. He tries a little screen pass, doesn't get much there. And then 2nd and long, 3rd and long, he just runs. It almost seemed like he had dialed the balance meter down too low. And I was like, huh. But I'm not going to complain as long as he's playing the game, the play calling game with such balance. And so Rams defense is playing great. Indy not making any progress. And McGenius and the Rams back on offense. And he's running. Be still my beating heart. McGenius is running with a 17-0 lead. He's running the ball. And I'm like, yes, that's it. You're going to win. You are going to win. And now the Rams with the ball back again, back on offense, back on the move again. And on a 2nd down, handoff to K. Will. He's stripped of the ball. Ball comes out, but who is it there? Puka recovers the loose ball. Rams maintain possession, but I think that little, see, this is where you go in depth in the game analysis. I think that hiccup, the ball coming out there, I think that jolted McGenius right there. It jolted him. And he had a momentary relapse of past happiness. You know, because he saw that ball come out from that handoff, and he thought, oh, I better throw. And he did. And honestly, Matty looking good. Hits 2-2. He hits 2-2. And then he hits Puka. And they're making chunk play. But on a 3rd and 6 play, Matty gets sacked out of the gun. Rams only allowed a couple sacks on this day. That was one of them. And that sack led to 54-yard field goal attempt from who is the real Brett Maher. That's what I'm going to call him at this point in time, my folks. Who is the real Brett Maher? Because we've seen, I understand he's nailed a 63-yard field goal in his time. He can boot him from a distance, but I saw him with them damn Cowboys in the playoffs last season. Playoffs? I saw him miss 4 of them. Boot after boot after boot after boot. Kept missing them. Not long ones. Missing like it was a psychological thing in his head. And Jerry Jones cut him. Get out of here. And now he's with the Rams. And I feel like there might be a ghost in that machine. And so I wonder who is the real Brett Maher? Well, on this particular instance, he converts a 54-yarder, 20-0. 20-0 Rams. And I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. The Rams take over yet again, up 20-0. There's about a minute 45 left in the second half. And McGenius starts the drive off. Remember now, 1:45 left in the second half. And McGenius starts the drive off with back-to-back runs. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Somebody holla hallelujah. Back-to-back consecutive runs in under 2 minutes left in the half to start the 2-minute drive. Coach Sean McVay, I applaud you. I was saluting. I was saying, yes, he's home. He's done it. He's arrived. Arrived at that place of balance. In fact, for the first half, the Rams had 17 passes. 19 runs. 17 passes, my folks. 19 runs in the first half. This is a winning formula. This is what I've been calling for. This allows you to control time of possession. You are giving your defense a rest while you give the opposing defense those body shots, setting them up for those play action strikes over the top. Your quarterback is not being hit. You're not turning the ball over. You are winning. This is what I've been calling for episode after episode. I'm like, holla, hallelujah. Somebody. But my friends, as you know, it was not to be so simple. Because as I said earlier, Shane Steichen, Indy head coach, deserves a lot of credit. Now, who is the real Brett Maher? Well, we don't know. But what we do know is on the Rams' final possession of the first half, they drive to field goal range from the Indy 34-yard line. And he misses the field goal terribly. Way off. Real bad. Wounded duck. Who is the real Brett Maher? But along the way to that missed field goal, K. Will broke off a nice big run, and that's what I'm talking about. See, your running back gains confidence as he starts to get that rhythm. Your O-line gains confidence as they start firing off the ball. This is what's been missing, Mr. McWonder. And you see the results. And so at the half, it's 20-0 LA, 20-0 Rams at halftime. And the numbers from the first half are gaudy in LA's favor. They have nearly tripled the Colts in total yardage. They've more than tripled the Colts in first downs. They've doubled them, or more than doubled them, in time of possession. And so it's all Rams, and the scoreboard reflects that. And it could have been more. Coming off a completely dominant first half to start the third quarter now. Indianapolis is on offense. And there he is, AD 99, flashes, records a sack. And the LA defense looks formidable. And so, after the punt, Matty and the LA offense, it's like the momentum and the domination is continued through halftime into the third quarter. And so, McGenius running the ball on first down, and then again on second down, and then on third down. Matty still sharp as ever. So on a 3rd and 5, complete to Higbee. First down, LA still rolling. But there's a holding call now on no go boom. 1st and 20 now. 1st and 20, LA. But that doesn't stop this train, because Sean McVay runs the ball here First and 20, my folks. First and 20. He runs the ball and he gets positive yardage. 9 yards. Then Maddie hits Puka for 16 more. And they went from a first and 20 to a first down in 2 plays. Clicking. McG running yet again. Running on first down. 6 more yards to Rivers. And so now on a 3rd and 4, McWonder runs again. He runs again. Only 2 yards. It sets up a 4th and 2. They trot out. Who is the real Brett Maher? They trot him out. And he converts. He converts a 51-yard field goal. 23-0 LA. 23-0 Rams. And there's no sign of what's about to happen to the Rams. It looks like it's just a walk in the park and the crowd is miserable. It's over, right? So now here is where I want to commend Shane Steichen. I want to point out, and I mentioned early, I would point out specifically a momentous point in the game, and I believe it was right here. The first one. There was another. Down 23-0 at home to the Rams. In the 3rd quarter now, midway through the 3rd quarter, Shane Steichen, first-year head coach, comes out running. Do you hear me? And I thought, oh my, this guy, Steichen, he must have watched the tape. He must have read the book on McVay. Because Father Shanahan wrote the book on how you beat Sean McVay. And I'm thinking Sean Steichen must have read Father's book because he's running. He's handing the ball off down 23-0 midway through the 3rd quarter. And I'm sure Mr. McWonder's head was about to explode. How can this man be running the ball down 23-0 in the 3rd quarter, midway through? This is a concept that must be completely foreign and alien to the mind of the boy genius. But he ran the ball. Not just once, not just for show. Shane Steichen, down 23-0, 3rd quarter and into the 4th, kept running the ball. He did not stray away. He did not stray away from balance. Even down 23-0 in the 3rd. There's a lesson there for our coach. Stick to the plan. Be disciplined. Do not panic. Stay the course. Steady. That's what Shane Steichen was. And I'll be damned if it didn't work. So let's just go through it. This is game analysis. Down 23-0. The Indianapolis Colts run the ball on 3 consecutive run plays. 3 consecutive. Bang, pow, boom. And those 3 run plays averaged about 12, 13 yards per run. Okay? Gut punching. And after that 3rd one, Steichen and his quarterback Richardson went over the top. Touchdown, Indy. 23-6, and they convert the 2-point play. 23-8. But I took notice of how the Indianapolis Colts coach did not come out chucking the ball all over the yard, inviting in demonic trouble. He stayed to his fundamental ground game principles, ran the ball for big chunk yards up the Rams D, and then went over the top. Payaka, touchdown, 23-8. Now contrast that. Contrast that with our coach McWonder. Our coach Sean McWonder is leading 23-8. He's leading 23-8 with time dwindling out of the third quarter. He's been in balance all day long. But here is momentous, epic moment 2. It was a coach's decision. So balanced, so disciplined all game long to this point. And here, for some reason, and you know what I believe it is? I believe it's when he's triggered. Just like when he saw K. Will drop, fumble, that handoff, and he went away from the run. Again, he saw Indy march down and put up 8, make it a 2-score game, 23-8. He was triggered. He had a conniption, pass, happiest, and he slipped. He backslid. And he went throw, chuck. The first throw, it was, I suppose it was going to be a wide receiver screen, but it was a jailbreak blitz by the defense, and Matty had to pretty much dirt it. And in the process of dirting it, he got walloped, rolled up on. He said he got body weight pounded into the turf, which is a penalty, but it wasn't called. 2nd and 10 now, but more importantly, Matty get up with a hitch in his giddy up. He like Fred Sanford out there walking. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm thinking, McGenius, calm down. You're leading. The clock is in your favor. These incomplete passes stop the clock. We've been through this. You saw episode 79. You saw episode 80, didn't you? You should have. If you haven't, you should be a subscriber, and so should you. Subscribe, please, if you haven't already. And so instead of composing himself, regaining his discipline, getting back onto his balanced game plan, he panicked. And now, 2nd and 10, he's throwing again, and poltergeist strike. There it is. You invited him in. You ushered in a call. Now you saw that balance and discipline were winning you the day. And you saw that the previous play, your quarterback just got pounded and waylaid and mollywopped. Hand the ball off, Coach McGenius. Hand the ball off. Eat some clock. No, you're throwing again with a gimpy limpy. And he's picked off. Poltergeist strike. And the Colts take over on offense. And the comeback now is on. And now momentum has switched jerseys. And the crowd is back into it. And so are the Colts, our folks. See, this point in the game, this was really where McGenius lost control of the game. At this point in the game, reestablish control on the ground. You want the clock to run. You don't want incomplete passes, and you damn sure don't want to invite in the evil one, the poltergeist. And so this was a grievous error in Mr. McWonder's planning, or lack thereof. And this is where he almost cost himself the victory. All you have to do there is run, sir. Run and eat up clock and punt the ball away. Not what you did. Not get your quarterback hurt. Now, my understanding is Matthew Stafford is a tough guy. He's a gritty player. He is going to play Sunday versus Philadelphia. But he's getting up there in years. You cannot expose him to a beating game in, game out, and think he's going to be available to you for the duration of the season. It's fool's gold. Mr. McWonder, with all due respect, you've got to build yourself a hardy ground game that you can rely on and turn to and do what you did in the first half. And so, as the fourth quarter begins, who is the real Brett Maher misses yet another field goal. This time it is a 48-yarder. Who is the real Brett Maher? And so it's still 23-8 LA fourth quarter. And now Indy puts together another drive with a beautiful blend of run and pass. Shane Steichen, it was magnificent to see how patient and how focused and deliberate Shane Steichen was in the face of a 23-0 rout. And so they put 7 points on the board, 23-15, 23-15 now, one score ball game. Rams take over on offense. And with plenty of time still left in the fourth quarter, and I'm thinking, run the ball, man, eat some clock, man, reestablish control of this game before it's snatched from you. But no, McWonder is throwing. So on the first play of the drive, Matty from the D is back in the shotgun. And I'm like, oh. And from the gun, 2-3 step drop, and literally his leg goes out from under him. Just crumples to the turf. Down goes Matty. Down goes Matty. 2nd and 19 now. 2nd and 19 now, McGenius. See what I mean? You see what I mean? So now you're forced to throw way behind the sticks. Behind the sticks. He's throwing again. Complete to Rivers. Pick up a 10. But Matty gets hit again. And Matty's laying on his back like, please, someone help me up. He can't get up. And he's up and he's hobbling and he's limping. And I'm like, how is this guy going to make it through the end of this game? And now we got 3rd and 9. So now it's 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9 now. And they're throwing again. And Matty is in the gun. And it's a jailbreak blitz. And the blitzer comes through unblocked. And somehow Matty, it was a Motown slide to the left, sidesteps the blitz. How he does it, I do not know. It was like magic. And he completes the pass to Higbee, first down. And Matty is unbelievably limited in his mobility, and yet somehow he was able to elude that free rush. And the drive continues. And so, after a run, it is 3rd and 3. And now it's 8:44 left in regulation. And, well, the run is stuffed. They have to punt. First punt of the game. And Indy gets the ball back with the momentum. But I need the D to do its work, right? The D's got to do its work. But McGee has got to stay disciplined here. He can't come undone. And so now down 8, Indy is moving the ball on the ground. Do you hear me, my folks? On the ground and in the air. And now it seems like Indy has something figured out with the Rams defense. And maybe this late in the game, I don't know, maybe the Rams D has started to run out of gas, or maybe it's just that persistent blend of running past. They don't know what's coming next. And Anthony Richardson is a load. He's a monster to bring down. And so Indy's driving, 1-score ball game. And now here we are. The clock has ticked down to the 2-minute warning. And I'm thinking, if this game were to go to overtime, could Matty from the D even finish it? He seems like they show shots of him on the sideline with some contraption wrapped around his waist, and he's limping and he's pointing and he's hobbling. And yes, Indy does convert. They score. They convert on 2. They tie the game 23-23 with under 2 minutes in regulation. And it looks like the Rams are trying to snatch a defeat from the jaws of victory. And so now here we get to an interesting point in the game where you see Shane Steichen, in my opinion, make a mistake. He tries to go all Sean McWonder on McWonder, and it cost him. But for now, the Rams have the ball from their 25-yard line. And, of course, McWonder's throwing. And Matty, he sidearms it to Higbee for 5, 2nd and 5. And then there's an incomplete pass. And so the clock has stopped. And then there's another incomplete pass on 3rd down. And so the clock has stopped. And Indy hasn't had to use any of their timeouts. And the Rams now have gone 3 and out. 3 and out for the first time all ball game. And they've got to punt the ball back to the Colts with a minute and change left on the clock, and an opportunity now for the Colts to kick a game-winning field goal and complete the epic comeback and or the epic Rams meltdown. And so with just a minute 9 left in regulation, the Rams and Matty from the D limp back out onto the field. And Matty completes a 5-yarder to Tutu, and then 6 yards to Puka. And that's a first down. But now incomplete to the imaginary 2 Chainz. And incomplete yet again. And now you have to punt. Nothing. Overtime. OT. Overtime. From 23-0, 23-23 at the end of regulation. Wow. But there was on this day to be a happy ending, because as the ref and the representatives from each team appear at midfield for the coin flip for OT, who is out there to call the coin toss? Is it AD99? No. Is it Matty from the D? No. Who is it? It's Stoney. It's Stoney. It's Sean McVay Jr. It's little Coach McWonder's son, Stoney. He loves him some Stoney now. And in the post-game press conference, McGenius actually praised Stoney. He said Stoney gave us that correct call. He called it a Hales call. That McGenius is something, isn't he? He's a cut-up. He said, thanks to Stoney, my son. I embellish a little. He said, thanks to my son Stoney for that wonderful Hales call that got us the ball in overtime. Thank you, son. Here's my prediction, ladies and gentlemen. I predict that Stoney will be a coach on a McWonder team at some point in the distant future, maybe 6-7 years from now. Something like that. You'll see Stoney on McWonder's coaching staff. He loves him. It's his son. I think he adopted him. I don't want to engage in any rumors or anything. Just speculating. But he loves him. So, Stoney correctly called the coin toss. The Rams would take over on offense to start OT. And as you by now know, Indy would never get the ball. The Rams would march down the field, score the touchdown, and win the game and redeem themselves and save the day and prevent that meltdown sickness that surely would have followed had they lost for the next several days going into the Philly game. Instead, they had a happy flight back home. And in that overtime, McWonder went back to that early first 15 or scripted set of early plays in the first quarter. That balance, that's what I'm trying to say, my folks. He went back to balance. And the Rams looked on offense like they did in the first half. They looked methodical and sharp and clean from their own 25-yard line. Matty from the D, sharp, over the top, complete to Puka. Then a handoff to K-Will for a couple. Then Matty dumps it off to K-Will for the first down. Then Matty again dumps another one off to K-Will for 5 more. 2nd and 5. Now a handoff to Rivers. And I'm like, yes, McGenius, yes. Using the running and that run play to Rivers beat the blitz. See, and the Colts were guessing. They thought pass, but it was run. And he beat, McGenius did. He beat the blitz guess with the run. And then McGenius hands off again, another run. And I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Then Matty from the D throws for Higbee, and Higbee jarred. The ball comes loose. But on 3rd down now, from the Indy 22-yard line, Matty from the D drops back to pass, looks over the middle, complete to Puka, busted coverage, sidesteps a defender, touchdown! Touchdown, LA! The Rams win. Walk it off, Puka. Walk it off, Matty from the D. The Rams win and salvage the day. Whoo! That was a busted coverage like no other on the game-winning overtime drive. 4 passes, 3 runs. That's the balance I'm talking about, Mr. McWonder. And then that 3rd and 4 from the 22, the Rams line up in a bunch right coverage. And you've got Puka and Tutu and Bryson Hopkins on the right. And when they snap the ball, 2 defenders go with Bryson Hopkins, 1 goes with Tutu, and they leave Puka, of all people, they leave Puka wide open in the middle of the field. And Matty from the D would say in the post conference that when he threw it, he couldn't believe he was so wide open. He said, second guess that he threw the pass a little high in case there was a defender there that he just could not see. But there was no one there because the Colts secondary had broken down, busted coverage. Puka, his first touchdown of the season, and it is a game winner. Rams win. 29-23 in OT. And so I've tried to cover for you folks the turning points, the key points in my estimation of the game. And I hope that this will be helpful not only for the entertainment of you who may be watching, but somehow, perhaps even will be edifying to Mr. McWonder if this message in a bottle somehow reaches him. When you're in balance, coach, you've got world beaters there. When you're in harmony, when you get out of whack, out of balance, you look like you did against the Bengals. A stanker, a clunker. So in the post-game press conference, Matty says he's okay. And I want to give it up to him. It was, for me, I saw it as a heroic performance. How he kept getting up off the turf, limping and hobbling. And, he couldn't get up by himself. He needed his teammates to help him up. And yet, when he threw that thing, the torque on that, the man can sling the ball. And I guess that's why McGenius he's so tempted to chuck it all the time, because the man can throw that pigskin. And so game balls to Matthew Stafford, game balls to Puka Nacua. So from the post game, Matty says he's okay. He says he will play Sunday against the Eagles. And so, as I say, he is a gamer. And he says he will be out there, and I believe that he will be. And so he certainly deserves his game ball, of course. Very quickly, let's look at the numbers. The numbers usually tell the tale, and I believe they do in this case as well. So, in this case, the Rams had 34 carries for 117 yards on the ground. That will get it done, Mr. McWonder. Now, this was an overtime game, but I wonder when was the last time the Rams had 30 carries in a regulation game. Was it under Coach McVay? I wonder when the last time would have been. It certainly is a rare occurrence. And so that was excellent to see that the coach is employing the principles of the run game. 34 carries, 117 yards. Now, Matty from the D, 27 of 40 for 319. He had one touchdown, one poltergeist strike. And then Puka Nacua, 9 catches, 163 more yards. He's averaging 18.1 yards per catch for this game, plus the game-winning touchdown. Game ball, Puka Nacua. And then on the other side of the ledger, Indy. And as I mentioned, props to Shane Steichen. They had 31 carries, 31 rushes for 133 yards, and their quarterback, Richardson, was 11 of 25 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in the air. So 25 pass attempts, 31 rushes. That, my friends, is how you do the 25-20 rule. And Shane Steichen almost pulled a victory out of his bag even after going down 23-0. And so there it is. The numbers were fairly close overall. The Rams had more yards, total yards, passing yards, more rushing yards. They averaged more yards per play, more first downs. They were better on third down, better on fourth down. They ran 20 more total plays. They had it was a differential of 1, 3 punts for the Rams, 4 for Indy. Both teams had about 8 penalties for around 82 yards. There was 1 turnover for Indy, that fumble lost. There was 1 turnover for the Rams, that poltergeist strike. And time of possession was pretty much 40 minutes for the Rams, 24 minutes for the Colts. And that does include So there you have it, my folks. This was an in-depth one, but I hope you have appreciated it. And so what I now need to ask you to do is throw me one of these, okay? Throw it to me now. Now let me point out, pressing that like button doesn't cost you anything, my folks. So throw me one of these, okay? And please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. But I can tell you right now, I'm excited about what I'm seeing from this squad. And so, next up, the Eagles fly into town. I'm very interested to see what happens next. And until then, you can be sure that I will be here to cover it. So, until the next time, my folks, Scotty says, one love.